Seeking English, S.A.T. Workbook, page 383, problem 1. You may use your calculator, although I don't think that you're going to need it. It says, for health study, researchers are tracking the diets of 140 men and 200 women. If 60 additional men are added to the study, then how many women must be added to ensure that 4/9 of the total number of subjects in the study are men? The first thing I want to point out is difference between fractions and ratios. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not. What do I mean by that? In this case, these are not ratios in the normal sense, which would be a part compared to another part. Okay, this would be, if it were that, it would be treating a ratio as a fraction, which I don't like very much. Okay, it should be 4 men to 5 women, but that's not how the story is told to you, and I prefer not to tell it that way either. Okay, the whole is 5 plus 4. Okay. It's that's the women plus the men on the bottom. So you have a total population on the bottom, or the equivalent, and you have the equivalent of a piece of that population on the top. This is men and women. So the next thing I want to stress is the chronology, narrative chronology. That does not necessarily mean the order in which you put things on the paper, or in my case on the board. It means the apparent order, okay, of events from left to right, which is how we normally tell stories in math. In this case, I've written 4/9 on the board, and that's the end of the story. Why did I begin at the end of the story? Because that's the part that we're certain about. Okay, we know that we're going there, we just don't know where we start or how we get there. Okay, so whatever it is that happens over here, okay, has to, at the end of the story, be equivalent to 4/9. Okay, so what is it? Story is that we have 140 men. Okay. Yes. And we have the same 140 men plus 200 women. Okay. So there is part of the population, and there's the rest of the population, and together they form the complete population. Just as you have the 4 here and the 4 and the 5 here. If it sounds like I'm over-explaining this, good. Okay, if you're bored by my explanation, it means that either you didn't need it or it has started to sink in. Either way, good. Okay, so that's where we are. If this happens to be equal, and don't bother to check, it does not matter, because that's not what we're looking for. Okay, what we're looking for is if I add 60 men here. Okay, what then has to be added down? To the female part of the group, in order to maintain or to complete this 4/9 here. Okay, so I've added the 60 men here. Be careful. Okay, and the previous take of this video, I put the 60 over here, kind of contradicting myself. If you do that, don't tell me. Okay, I'm going to show you this way. Okay, I'm going to put you 140 guys here, and I'm going to put this 60 here so that it chronologically matches. It's a little bit more clear. Okay, that's 140 men plus 60 men, 140 men down here, same guys, same people, plus 60 here, and these 200 original women, and the unknown number of additional women is here. Okay, does that look good? Looks okay. There we have the correct story. Okay, you have this number of men, you added this number of men, you had this number of men, you had this number, added this number of men, you had this number of women. We don't know who was added. Okay, but whatever number of women it is, it has to equal this 4/9 fraction at the end of the story. That's the complete story. You may now begin to simplify the story to try to isolate this unknown part and to deduce what it must have been. That means this can become 200. Okay. That's the same 200 here and a 200 there. That becomes 400. Okay? 400 plus x. Okay? Now, as much as you've seen that I love to move things diagonally in other videos, I'm not going to do that this time, just because I can't move the x all by itself. I'd be moving the 400 with it, and I'm doing this and explaining why I'm doing it. They take different amounts of time. I'm trying to show you how to possibly save time, but by doing that, I'm using time, additional time. So trust me on this a little bit, okay? Faster for me, at least, is to flip the equation. Okay, one thing I know for certain is the x, I want that in a numerator. I do not want it in a denominator. So for me, just flipping the whole equation, 9 over 4, is a little bit easier. 400 plus x over 200, okay? From there, opportunistically, I see that the 4 and the 200 have a really simple relationship that I could use to get rid of the denominator completely. Okay, this is 50 times that. So if I make this 50 times and this 50 times, I'll have two denominators and the denominators can go away. Yeah, okay, yes. 9 times 50 and 4 times 50. Okay, you see this? Make sure that you understand this step. Okay, for the sake of viewers, I'm doing everything the long way to make sure you can see the whole process. Okay, this 4 times 50 converts to 200. And at that point, you don't need these denominators. You can multiply both sides of the equation by 200. The denominators go away. Okay? Yeah, sorry. It's a little better, a little better. 9 times 50 should be 450. I'm not sure that's why they said you needed a calculator. Maybe, okay? And we are very close. Subtract the 400 from that side. You have x all by itself. And the last step is to subtract 400 from 450. Okay, so x equals 50. And if you check in the book, that's what it says. There are various orders in which the events in this process could take place, and that could affect how quickly you do the problem. And I've shown you what, for me, I think is the fastest for my desired degree of accuracy. If you have a way that you think is faster, go ahead and test it graphically. If you can do it that way, and this way, and some third way with a stopwatch, and see just how long does it take to write things. That's not necessarily a reliable indicator of whether something is actually faster on the test, but it's one of the variables, is how long does it take to graphically write something, if you understand it conceptually. The other thing to consider is your risk level in terms of what's going to make you make a mistake. I can't really answer that for you. I showed you the reasoning that I used to make sense of this problem, and if that works for you, great. If it does not, tell me. Say something in the comment section. We'll go over it, and we'll try to figure out something that works slightly better for you. Okay.